Cool. Hi guys, I'm George from DoraHacks and welcome to the ETHToronto Winners Demo Session. I'll be your host and moderator for this demo session, and please feel free to reach out to me at any time via my email, george@dorahacks.com, or my Telegram handle @VP_Dora if you would like to connect and chat more about building a project or partnerships with DoraHacks. For a bit of background on this demo session, earlier in August, DoraHacks proudly supported the ETHToronto Hackathon. ETHToronto was a 3-day hackathon where teams came together and were challenged to build the future by developing the next big innovation in blockchain technology. There were two types of competitions that the hackers could participate in. The first being the overall ETHToronto Hackathon competitions, and the second being the ETHToronto Bounty competitions. To view some of the projects who participated in the ETHToronto Hackathon, feel free to visit dorahacks.io and click on the Hackathon tab where you will find ETHToronto and the build submitted. ETHToronto was a great opportunity for hackers to build and win a share of the prizes on offer through bounties and the main hackathon. With us today, we have got 4 fantastic projects joining to speak to us about their project and give us a bit of a demo. First up, we have Chipmint, who achieved 3rd place in the Axelar network bounty and best use of ANKR bounty. Second up, we will hear from the POM team, who got 1st place for the CryptoChicks bounty. Then we'll have Social Grazing, who was a winner of the Beefy bounty. And last but not least, we'll hear from DeFi Score, who achieved 1st place in the Hedera bounty and 3rd place for the DoraHacks bounty. For the audience, please feel free to share any questions that you may have during the session in the YouTube or Binance live chat room. We're more than happy to ask the team these questions as we go. So without further ado, let's welcome the Chipmint team to present their project to us. Welcome, guys.
Amazing. Thanks, George. So yeah, we'll just dive into the presentation. I'll share my screen if that works.
Sure.
Okay. Sorry, it worked a moment ago and now it's complaining about permissions. Give me 5 seconds. Okay, I think I'm going to have to rejoin back in Chrome.
Yeah, sure. I'll just give them a moment to rejoin.
All right, is this working now?
Perfect.
Amazing. And can you see the slide deck here?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so we're Team Chipmint. So today, if you run an NFT marketplace, when an NFT is sold, right, to a buyer who goes and purchases it, the seller has no idea this happened until they log in and see that their NFT was sold. Similarly, if you're liquidated on a DeFi lending platform like Aave, you don't know until you log in and see that change on your account. So what we've done is we've added one new key smart contract function to solve these kinds of issues. Send SMS. So yes, this seems like super, simple Web 2 in a way, but SMS is great because everyone can receive it. Furthermore, the send SMS function we've added doesn't need to know the phone number of the receiver. It just needs to know their wallet address. So with just a user's wallet address and the text that you want to send them, you can send them an SMS directly from your smart contract Solidity code. Integration is super simple. So first, you just add an iframe to your DApp, which embeds a small user interface that lets users verify their phone number and authorize your DApp to send them messages. Secondly, you import the iChipmint interface. This is our Solidity code that gives you that function. And thirdly, you call the send SMS function on our interface. And this is an example code integration with an open source NFT marketplace to notify the seller, which is this first argument, of an NFT when their NFT sells, right? So integration really is just this one key line. So let's dive into a quick demo and see this live. So what you can see here on my screen, these 3 windows. Top left, pretty straightforward. This is just my text messaging screen straight from my phone. Bottom left, we have a Polygon scan window. And this is on the Chipmint smart contract. So what this is going to represent is the DApp smart contract interacting with the Chipmint smart contract. And on the right-hand side, we have a MetaMask authenticated window here on the Chipmint developer interface, where integration will happen, and it'll also serve as the end user using the DApp. Alex, do you want to take us through the integration process?
Yeah, thanks, Trevor. So first, we're going to log in with and get the sender address. So this is, for example, the address from your DApp. And we're going to show you how you can get the Chipmint plugin super easily. Once you plug in the address, you also specify a number of messages and days before your authorization expires to create a unique iframe. This one line of code is all you need to be able to communicate with your entire audience on your DApp. So going downwards, we can kind of see that rendered as if it would in your application. For users that haven't used Chipmint before, they're going to see a phone number verification screen. So here, as a user, Trevor would plug in this phone number and get a one-time password. All right, now that we have the code, all we do is verify. And this actually creates a signature that connects the wallet to the number. Now that's stored and privately and can be used across all apps that use Chipmint. Now we have the specific authorization we need so that we can receive messages from the sender. So with all this information, we authorize, make another signature. And just like that, the service is authorized. And so we can communicate and kind of abstract away the complexity of storing that information and data. Eventually, this can extend to not just communication through SMS, but through other means, all through simply the user's wallet address. So I'll give it back to Trevor now.
Perfect. Thanks, Alex. So now that we've authorized the application smart contract to send messages to this particular user, right, this MetaMask authenticated user, I'll copy that address and we'll go over here into the Chipmint smart contract and we'll put it in as a recipient of a message. We're going to say hello from DoraHacks as the message. And this is an on-chain call, just like your DApp smart contract could make directly to our smart contract. So with this call, let me confirm that transaction. So we've kicked off this Polygon mainnet transaction. And hopefully, when this transaction completes, we should have an event emitted on Polygon. And that event, yep, so that's complete. That event will be emitted. It'll be ingested by our service worker node. And that service worker will kick off this SMS to my phone number. So real SMS came here from the data on chain, just as we hoped it would. So this is all up, running live on Polygon. All of these things that just happened show up in our smart contract transactions list here. You can see we verified a phone number, registered the authorization, and kicked off that SMS all on chain. So this is an architecture of how we built it out. So we have your DApp, embedding the iframe, communicating with our embedded DApp. That's what's inside the iframe, pushing data to the Linux server, which is pushing data on chain. That would be the verification and authorization. On the other side, your smart contract is calling our send SMS function, which is interacting with our smart contract on Polygon, emitting the events to initiate the SMS, which are causing the SMS to be sent to your end user devices. So today we're already live on Polygon, as you've seen, sending real SMS. In the future, we're working on expanding cross-chain using Axelar because, of course, notifications are not Polygon specific. These could be initiated from any chain. We also, as Alex mentioned, plan to expand beyond only SMS. This is agnostic to delivery methods. It could be email, it could be EPNS, but we want to give users that choice rather than forcing them in a specific platform. And a nice kind of game theoretical optimized piece that we can do as well is allowing users to set their spam price, right? If someone wants to reach out to someone else, you don't want to let them just spam SMS, but if I can set the price that someone has to pay to reach me, now I can make sure I just receive those most valuable messages without getting spam. So that's Chipmint. Thank you so much. And if anybody is interested in reaching out, this is our email address as well, contact@chipmint.co.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your presentation. I did have some questions for you. So how do you guys plan to integrate Chipmint onto other platforms? I mean, I assume that's what you're going to aim to do, correct?
Absolutely. So this is actually up and running today. There is no API key needed. Other platforms can use it to send SMS today. And the way, of course, moving forward, we're building out tokenomics, right? It's going to, there will be like a cost to sending these SMS. But essentially, all that needs to happen is that iframe integration and the smart contract integration, just these two pieces. There's no approval from our side needed. There's no, first-party integration. It's all third-party. It's enabled today.
Yeah. So, I mean, how do you plan to get people on board and using Chipmint?
You mean from like a marketing perspective?
Yeah. So more so, like, for example, if you wanted to integrate with an NFT marketplace, right? Like any NFT marketplace, let's say OpenSea. How are you going to go about kind of acquiring people to integrate with you guys?
Got it. Okay. So yeah, from the business side, there's a couple paths we're looking at here. One is kind of DAO proposals, right? So we can go into DAOs of any of these multi-sided platforms, try to convince the community of the benefits of allowing these notifications. Of course, nobody has to no one has to receive them. It's opt-in, but the integration enables it. So convince them of the value, and then we can, of course, propose like the pull request to integrate these few lines of code into their platform. Besides that, building partnerships with products like EPNS that could be the delivery layer, or we're also having some conversations with on-chain address book products, so kind of synergistic products in the ecosystem, where we can add a tangential value by providing the kind of message initiation layer of this.
Yeah, got it. And in terms of like currently, it's obviously active and up and running. So who are your main customers as such that are using the product?
Yeah, no major customers right now. We've seen some usage that's not internal, so people have been playing around with it, but nobody has done like a full integration of a live app yet that we're aware of.
Cool, perfect. All right, well, thanks, guys, and good luck with everything. And we will, if there's any questions that come through, I will ask you them as a follow up at the end.
Amazing, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
George.
Up next, we will hear from the POM team. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Hello. Hope everyone's doing well.
Howdy. How we doing?
Very good.
All right. Well, ready. Let me share my screen. We'll hop right in here.
Perfect.
Excellent.
All right, cool. So yeah, we are Team POM introducing Proof of Mushroom, the original networkers. So when it comes to sustainability, what are some of the things we most commonly hear? We always hear, don't use plastic straws, compost and recycle more. There is so much noise, but do these methods really make a difference? What about big industries? Does it even matter who we place the blame on if no one is doing anything about it? Enough with the noise. Introducing POM, a decentralized carbon marketplace. It incentivizes everyone to offset carbon credits and pays back to the public through gamification in ecological restoration. So we're solving two main problems. The first one is we don't know what the true cost of carbon is. And according to some statistics, capturing a ton of CO2 costs between $94 and $232 per ton, but it also costs $25,000 to plant 50 trees that will offset that 1 ton of carbon in a year. And so there is a large arbitrage opportunity there. Next, the second issue is that the general public does not feel that they can contribute to ecological restoration in a sustainable way.
So our solution for this is actually something called a palm box, which would help offset the carbon footprint and also reward the users at the same time. So we do this by having an interior lining made out of Pestalotiopsis microspora mushroom, which originates from Argentina, and it's a specific strain of mushroom that's actually capable of breaking down polyurethane plastic, and it can convert basically the plastics into biomass, organic biomass. And what this would do essentially is just it would commoditize carbon marketplaces for everyone. So each carbon credit would be represented as a token, and then there'd be a marketplace where users can buy and sell their tokens, and it would also unlock an emerging sustainable economy. As the true cost of carbon is revealed, it'll incentivize others to participate in regenerative activities, and it'll also help the incentives of breaking down the plastics and adopting a palm box. And at the same time, it'll help the cost/value of the carbon credits go up over time.
Yeah, so as part of the creation of Palm, we imagined a decentralized marketplace. I believe that the centralized marketplaces aren't offering the true cost of carbon. And so to help us discover that, we created a decentralized carbon exchange using Reach, which is a high-level Web3 programming language that allows us to create like an entire decentralized marketplace in less than 60 lines of code. And so we'll run this here. And Reach has a compiler that's built in. It's also a deployment tool, and there's a verification engine in here. So when we run this, Reach will compile the contract that we created in this high-level manner, and then it will compile down to the Solidity on our behalf. It also runs a verification engine, which ensures the truthfulness of the program, whether participants are honest or dishonest, and whether front ends are honest or dishonest. And so we'll run this as to get ourselves an example so we can see that this contract is compiling and then it's running. And so here at the top, we've created our token. It's just a CO2 token. We open at a price, so we say like 150 and set up a certain amount. And then this market is open. And in this case, this market is this contract is meant to live forever. We can see examples of APIs buying and selling tokens. And APIs are simply users like ourselves, you, me, and everyone who are on their phones or desktop and are interacting in like a decentralized marketplace. And so we can see that price of the carbon is reflected in going up and down, just like we would expect in a real marketplace. And then we can see as a comparison, the compiled Solidity, which let's see, it'll take a while to scroll down from the top. But yeah, it's like over 900 lines of code. So let's see if I can get down there. Yeah. So 60 lines of the Reach actually compiles down to 900 lines, which saves us an enormous amount of time as we're building the contract. Lets us focus more on the business products, such as the Palm Box, the IoT device, and actually shipping this product out to people's homes and into industries that can recycle these plastics. Yeah, so what questions do we have at this time?
Thanks, guys. Thanks for that. So do you mind chatting a little bit more to us about kind of where this whole idea came from and how you guys came together as a team?
Yeah, definitely. So we just circled up and we got our team together and started debating on different ideas and thoughts of things that we might create. And Hector had been researching this mushroom. Another member of our group had been interested in mycology for quite some time, and this idea of sustainability and how we can allow people to be empowered to create sustainability started rising up, and we thought maybe we might have a pot protocol with proof of trees, and then the conversation went back to the mushrooms, and this felt like the correct direction to move into for the first step.
Yeah, I had been kind of researching some biotechnology solutions that companies have been designing. And some of them have been like, replacing interior packaging with like composable uh, like matters, like using mushrooms and other things. So from there, I just researched more into mushrooms, and I found that there was like this one like mini documentary on this specific mushroom, and that it's actually capable of breaking down plastics, but it's just like the research and the funding isn't there, so that's why like we haven't seen any actual real world use case from it. So I thought it'd be a cool idea to spin up.
Yeah, cool. Now, in terms of the mushroom boxes, so how are you going to push them out to users and to people to actually use them?
Yeah, as luck would have it, two of our team members actually work with Shopify, so they have the inside details on how that entire industry works. And so we would be pushing the Palm Box out through Amazon Marketplace, of course, and through Shopify. And we feel like we have experts on our team who are very knowledgeable in that sector of the market. And we believe that we could price that very aggressively and have like 3 or 4 different models to begin with.
Yeah, just to add on to that, even without the IoT integration, even without all of the tracking of the actual plastic being converted into organic matter, it can still, the box itself can still be very, I guess, commonplace in different households just purely for composting reasons. And so a couple people on our team were also students, so we're also looking to connect with researchers and also other connections there to kind of push this forward.
Yeah, got it. Perfect. So, I mean, the other question I had is more on compliance, right? So, obviously, there's with sending out like mushrooms or anything that's kind of classified as live, sending that around the world. I mean, is that a bit of an issue?
No. So one of the companies that we've looked into partnering with, that like also does this already at scale, they do it with packaging materials. There's already a process in which the mushrooms grow, and like they're already they're not really live, so they're kind of in this sedentary state, and that allows them to take on different forms and have different like density factors, so that they're like more solid, versus like when they're live they're not as solid. So all that stuff kind of can be worked out in the engineering process, but it's still viable to be interior and like not live and take over the whole box.
Yeah, there always runs the risk of it becoming an invasive species, but hopefully the research that we do will keep that in check.
Cool. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Cool. Now we'll move on to the social grazing guys. Will, John, Chris, how are you?
Hey, yeah, so we are Social Grazing. That's actually just a code name. We don't actually have a good name for this project yet. So if anyone has any suggestions, let us know. But we built our project on top of Beefy Finance. Beefy is a multi-chain yield aggregator similar to Yearn Finance. So we built a layer of contracts on top of Beefy that allows somebody like a charity or content creator to deploy a vault that other users can deposit a stable coin or other coin into. And the interest earned on that vault is donated to the beneficiary, and the user is still able to withdraw their principal at any point. So it's like a donation of interest, basically.
Yeah, so we can go to the next slide. So who is this built for? We thought it could be utilized in a lot of different areas for different purposes. Really, this is a generic yield aggregating tool with a specific beneficiary, so that basically it can be used by a lot of different projects or organizations. So we thought particularly public goods projects, content creators, as John mentioned earlier, other DAOs, community-based organizations, charities, and many more. So basically anyone that needs essentially some sort of revenue stream in order to operate, but is trying to find ways to bootstrap that. This is a way of utilizing community and community liquidity to potentially bootstrap the early financing of projects like that.
That's basically how it works here. We're just a set of contracts on top of Beefy Finance. So we have our own strategy, our own vault, and then it all goes to a shared vault. But and then a user can deploy their vault through a factory contract, and that all runs through the shared vault. And then the shared vault is converts basically between the way funds are accounted for in Beefy Finance versus just a nominal principal amount.
Yeah, and so we have some other ideas for other ways that we can make this more useful for more projects or make it more interesting for the users as well. So one of those ideas is adding a lottery system. So making it more chance-based for who receives the interest over a certain time period, adding NFTs to reward users for depositing into contracts, adding time lock deposits so that it gives organizations that are using these vaults more predictability in terms of how much funding they'll be receiving in terms of interest, and then you could tie those time lock deposits to additional optional rewards such as an NFT or some other reward system. Also interest splitting. So maybe there's a use case where a project wants to also incentivize their users by sharing some of the interest. So it's kind of an altruistic way of both providing interest for a project, but also still retaining some of that. And some of the steps that we need to do, we've deployed this on several different test nets. We've deployed on the BSC testnet as well as the Polygon Mumbai testnet, which is where the current nicer looking version is deployed. But basically, we'd like to deploy them on, for example, Polygon mainnet or the BSC mainnet or one of the other EVM compatible chains that Beefy works with, so that we can really get the interest generation happening and make that into a functional vault and strategy. And then we think that this, given that we are building this as a kind of a DeFi primitive to fund various projects, hopefully public goods and other social goods. Basically, we think this is a good idea for a simple integration into giving platforms that already exist. So it could be another tool, for example, on Gitcoin, in addition to their bounties and grants rounds. So, yeah.
All right, so we'll do a quick little demo. That's the address. The app is live, so you can go follow along if you want to go test it out. But we'll do a quick demo here. All right, so yeah, we are on Mumbai testnet right now. So we're using mock vaults with a mock ERC20. So we're going to try and deploy a new vault. Using DAI as our base currency. So right now, anyone can just deploy one of these vaults, but in the future, maybe you'll need a token or something to deploy these, just to keep the number of vaults down and the quality up. But, okay, so our vault is deployed. We had previously given ourselves some of our mock DAI tokens, so let's go ahead and deposit 1,000 DAI into the vault. Come on. It's on Mumbai testnet, but still takes some time sometimes. Okay, looks like the transaction was confirmed.
I need to reload it again.
Maybe that did not work. Let's give it another shot. Oh, it must have been an issue with the approval. The approval never came up. Click that one.
Yeah, so just to add a little bit more while we wait, there's, I guess one of the things that we were thinking about is that what's going to promote people to throw their capital and lock them into vaults for long periods of time to actually accrue the interest, other than just leaving it there, to kind of avoid people from putting something in and then pulling it back out right away and not really letting the interest accrue. One of the ideas that we've kind of mentioned is the lottery aspect of it, and thinking that people could hold their capital in for longer periods of time. They could potentially get entered into maybe a 50-50 draw, or depending on whatever the vault creator wants, they could have different kind of options of what they could share with folks. And as an example of trying to kind of get past that kind of barrier of getting people to hold their capital in the location for longer periods of time, and it for the charitable cause or whatever it may be.
Okay, so it looks like our original transaction works. We deposited 1,000 DAI in the vault, and then I went and hit the test accrual button. So we're just mocking out interest accrued in the Beefy reward vault, like Aave or whatnot. So now we can see that the balance is slightly higher, and that is only the beneficiary should be able to withdraw this interest. So this is our vault, so we'll hit withdraw. And then hopefully our balance should go up slightly here. But that is the basics of the system. And so you can see we haven't built out the reward system yet, but that's the next thing we plan on doing, is a system for unlocking rewards based on the amount staked. So you can see here, we've unlocked these mock rewards. And there, our balance went up a little bit as we withdrew the interest. And that is it.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the demo. One of the questions that I had was, I mean, I've seen in another demo session that I hosted last week, I saw a similar kind of concept. So, I mean, in terms of like who your target audience, target users are, who is that for you guys?
Yeah, so I mean, we were initially thinking this is particularly good for public goods, where there's typically issues with free riders and people where there's a large community of users, but maybe they don't have a lot of funds to give. Also tends to be the issue with a lot of NGOs or charities and that kind of thing. So really, this is a way for people who have a community of people that are really engaged and interested in pushing a project forward or supporting a creator. They can put that money in without actually like giving up full ownership of it. And so essentially, if they end up in a tough spot, they need the money back, they can still take that back and still have given the project some form of support in terms of the interest.
Yeah, I see it as a tool, just another tool for people to get money. And this is just a unique Web3 way to do it.
And just to add to it a little bit, there's also like the tax benefit as well. Like it's almost like that's similar to, I think, maybe some of the other things that you've seen, that is more like an endowment or a fund that can be shared, but again, limits or restricts the amount or the principal, access to the principal.
Yeah, got it. And in terms of a roadmap for you guys, like what is the next couple months, 6 months, 12 months? What does that look like for you guys?
Yeah,
just building up more features, the reward system, things like that, and marketing, getting people to use it is really the key.
Yeah, and that's where I think if we do find that hook of it can like go into like content creators as well, like almost like a new version of like a Patreon type service. And then why would people use it instead of Patreon? I think you need to have the Patreon content creator be excited about it to promote it. And make the switch. And Patreon, you can just get like a chunk of capital, boom, it's a lot easier that way. And that's where we think that there's the opportunity to start creating those types of lotteries, or that 50-50, where half of the accrued interest potentially goes out to the larger audience to get that hook to hold the capital in place as well as the NFTs and different kind of like I guess awards or access the longer you hold capital in over time as well.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, thank you guys. Thanks for your presentation and the demo.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Now we will hear from the DeFi Score team.
Oh, hello there. Let me get my stuff all set up here. Welcome. I'm really excited to be here. I wish I had my whole team with me. Unfortunately, when you join a hackathon solo and you find a decentralized team, you're not all in the same time zone. So
yeah, no, all good.
I've got a great team that I can share pictures of afterwards, but it will just be me. So if they're just to, as a precursor, I'm technically light. I've done developer marketing for years, built a lot of hackathons, but the DoraHack was my first joining. So happy to help as much as I can, but there might be some, differences, especially as Hedera isn't just a typical blockchain, right? You got hash graphs and a lot of new things that I learned. So just wanted to add that preface before we get started.
Oh, good.
Right, and now I will share my screen. Give me 1 second. Find the window. Here we go. Share. All right, so this is my team. As mentioned, we have a decentralized team. 2 of us came there together as a part of a consultancy firm, new Web3 firm. This was their second hackathon, our devs, and then me and my fellow business idea person kind of all partnered together, which we created DeFi Score. Our goal was really trying to create a Web3 opportunity to own your own data, to try and figure out a way to help make a difference in the world. Web3 has so many, areas and aspects, from the coolest shiny new NFTs to DeFi scores, right? So a little bit of preface there and we can get started. So basically what we were thinking is, instead of just building another new NFT project or something that has already been done before, we wanted to build off something from Web 2, right? How do we take something like alternative lending, alternative credit scores that companies like Yodlee, Plaid, Stripe are doing, and actually bring it to the Web 3 side, right? And how do we actually allow users to benefit from their data and from the use of their data, whether it's a company that's about to give you a loan and benefit on whether you're subprime or wherever you are on this credit score here. We wanted to try and give the power back to the people, because we believe that is what Web3 really is about. And so to do this, we thought, I mean, again, with the wide spectrum of new projects coming into Web3, it could feel like a modern day gold rush. So we decided to create an idea based on a personal story. Here's my story. So what are the impacts of negative credit, right? 57% of Canadians don't even know their credit score. When I did my, when we did our, actual pitch during the hackathon, some of our judges knew it that day. Some been 10 years. Does it really matter? Well, it doesn't until it does. Personally, for me, I had gone through an ugly divorce where my ex convinced me that I was in the wrong. I had to leave. He was, wasn't from America. He's from Israel. So he felt that I had to go and find my family and friends for help. And I wasn't aware, whether it's financial education, different types of education, a lot of us can, fall into a trap of not really knowing what our options are. And so that's kind of where I went. A year later, all of a sudden, I tried to find my own place and all these things, and I couldn't get a credit card. I couldn't get a loan. I couldn't get anything. Luckily for me, I actually had friends and family, but our idea was, what if we could take Web 2's version of alternative lending scores and add a Web 3, attribute. So when we were thinking about this, it's like, I have my story, but it's not just me. Like, look what happened recently with Equifax, and I believe usually my partner Sean's would do this slide too. I believe that they had something around 70 million of people that got false loans, and then they tried to retroact. These are supposed to be our leaders, right? These are supposed to be the people you trust. And for me, I had such a simple thing. It was the Comcast box that never got returned, but it was only on one of the 3 American credit scores. So 2 years went by, no clue what was continually dinging my credit score until I opted into one of those, new age fintech groups that offer you the full view. But was it really the full view? Because half the things on there weren't accurate. And any advice you get is just to say none of them are true. Dispute everything. So even though I knew some of them are accurate, I was getting advice to dispute them. And that goes against to my own personal moral values. And I think what the goals are in business, right? And things that Web3 can fix with transparency. So we decided to focus on, the demographic, as I mentioned. Females that have recently gone through a divorce. For anyone who isn't aware of the recent succession facts, after the pandemic, a number of females had to stay home because, their husbands were the breadwinners. So it actually ended up reducing their efforts in the workforce, hurting their confidence and even attempts to get back out there. So what can Web3 do? Provide freedom to all, right? Even if you are at home and you are working from home, or you are just being, a mom, which is a great feat to be. That's a wonderful job that people forget about, right? There are opportunities for you. So we were looking at the market, as you can see here, it's a huge market. So how do you begin to segment it? We decided to do it by making a difference and trying to start with one segment. The plan is to move to the invisible as well, and the foreigners who don't even, have a credit score because of due to current banking regulations. And I added a couple of fun facts here. Not so fun. 50% of marriages will end in divorce. But the part that did make me laugh is that I read that Australians are more likely to get divorced than change bank accounts. So we figured, well, you've got this influential person, especially women are huge proponents of word of mouth advertising to spread the news. If they find a good solution, they're going to be your best ambassador. And also, again, back to the point of making a difference. The solution can span multiple ecosystems and markets, but with such a big opportunity, you got to start somewhere to be able to test your ideas and to test your success. And so right here is kind of just another, again, slide that my buddy Sean would do. But basically, we were talking about the current situation. As we know, it's very vulnerable to attacks. There's no transparency. Why didn't I know about that one Comcast device? It was $20, and it hurt my score for years. But that's because I was busy doing my thing, trying to move on, and there wasn't an easy way to find out everything at once. There's no data ownership. They're benefiting from everything, as most Web 2 is. And as we've seen, it's prone to bias and errors. And proof of concept, before I get too deep, I know this is a very, very regulated industry. I spent 6 to 7 years in fintech prior, working for Yodlee and working on different alternative credit data solutions. So personally, I have a lot of experience in this area, understanding what Web 2 has done to try and rectify the current situation, which is why I'm so excited about what Web 3 can do to make it a new frontier. But there are a couple companies that are already doing this. So just to clarify that I have done my due diligence and research to show that I understand this is regulated, but there are companies that are doing this without such a focus to actually make the world a better place, which is, in my opinion, one of the utopian benefits of Web3. So our solution, the DeFi Score, is a decentralized alternative credit score rating. Basically, we plan to reward users based on sharing their credit reports is the V1, and the second version would be actually rewarding them for education and financial literacy through on-chain transactions. So as you can see here, our solution will be decentralized, which will help it be hack resistant. We will be transparent, providing your open source, all of the information that's out there. We're going to give users their data back, their data ownership back, and allow them to allow people to use their product and also revoke permissions. In case there's an Equifax issue, sorry, Equifax, but most recent, in case there's a certain issue, you can also revoke your data permissions at any point in time. And lastly, we will show you auditability, and you can track whoever has seen your data through our smart contract. Next slide. So here's going to be the demo of our solution. Let's see if I can unpin.
Hi, so we are using well, this is an application done, decentralized application done for each.
I'm going to just mute it since my partner's not here. So basically, this is our solution. As you can see, I'm just going to do a quick demo since I have my devs here to help me. But basically, what we're doing here is that you can opt in to see who you want to use your product. And we also have vendor refresh inquiries, the consulting score. They did a couple of different programs and different profiles. So I'm going to let it go back on here and let you hear from him.
So we're doing a fast MVP. First off, well, we want people to be able to give permission to read your credit score. So we opt into the program, to the smart contract. So you're basically saying to the smart contract that you are giving access to your credit scores. And this way you can monetize and also see who has access to your credit score and who has read from it. So we have a second dashboard, which is the vendor dashboard. You can imagine that we connected to a different wallet for this one, and we are accessing our user's wallet who has just opted in. So let's consult his credit score. His credit score is 800. So by the way, when we consult the credit score, we actually ask for a token value. This way we monetize the user's data, so the data is compensated with money for having read this platform and having read the credit score, and he can then see who read it, so we can refresh inquiries to see who has read your. So basically, this is a wallet address for the vendor, so this way that who has read your credit score, and then the user basically can opt out when he wants. So he revokes a permission, and then when we consult score, we're not allowed anymore to consult the score. And this way, well, you can have the privacy on your data and own your data and basically decide if people can read or not. Thank you very much.
All right, and so there is our data little demo. So I'll try to start again. It's exit here. 1 second. Start back. I apologize for the technical difficulty. So the DeFi Score is an alternative credit rating score that will reward users for sharing their data on-chain and off-chain. And basically the goal, as he mentioned, is what we're going to do is we're going to charge a specific amount to each user. We're starting on the Hedera blockchain. So we'll be charging 1 HBAR for anyone to access this credit score. Our plan is to provide 50% to the user, which starts them on their financial literacy and new course in life, their new start. And then we'll take the rest for overhead, etc. And that's just the beginning of our project. We have a lot of plans to go further. The way that we're planning on acquiring users is going to be, we're going to partner with one of the top credit agencies and find a solution to get rid of these random charges that you can dispute. And how do we actually build together and build a better future? That's through education. And we're planning to create that alternative DeFi credit score, which is going to be coupled with a literacy program that will give you a different score based on your on-chain transactions. So this isn't just what you did before. This isn't just what I was told. You just got to sit and wait. That someday your credit score will improve. Right. Our conversion is to actually provide people a new opportunity to make their life better and build within Web3. It's not just freedom to have a new idea. It's really based on partnering with groups like HerDAO. It is one that we're looking to work with. For anyone who's not familiar, they're one of my favorite female DAOs in the space. They are really trying to work on ideas that can help empower females and help bring females to the forefront, right? Just because you're a stay-at-home mom doesn't mean you can't be doing DeFi on the side, right? As long as we provide you the educational tools so that it helps you lower the risk and provide you the tools to help you know what you need to do next. So they were very interested to help partner with DeFi Score on bringing us to the next level outside of this hackathon. Also, we've talked to a DAO called DeFi Legends of DeFi. They're building out content right now to help people with financial literacy from all areas of Web3. And we're very interested in DeFi Score's idea to try and focus on helping women and helping after that we can really build this program to any target and segment. That is looking to learn more, as well as partnering with Notify, which provides a cross-chain messaging solution for going to be a number of different chains. But the goal is to make things easy, to make the whole process of Web3 more user-friendly. Like you're getting a text from your friend, right? I haven't looked at my phone in a while. I'm hoping I have some text when I get up, right? This is what people are looking for, especially in that time of your life. You want to have a message that's going to provide you something to smile about, something to give you hope. And so that's one of the things that Notify offers is up-to-date real-time notifications on market fluctuations, helps you learn DeFi with being able to change your positions, helps you buy your favorite NFT with notifications on when the auction's happening. And then as well as the big part that, really is going to make our solution different is partnering with these data oracles. So I have some contacts at Pith that I've reached out to try and pitch our project to. Still trying to, get on their a roadmap. I have a call later this week to see, is this an idea that we really want to take further? And our team believes it is. One of the things I love about Pith is what they're doing is really they're bridging the gap from fintech to Web3. They're being able to bring you high fidelity real-time data in a manner that you need it to make the decisions to maximize your benefits and your earnings. So our solution is going to be the next step is going to be, as mentioned, partnering with HerDAO, partnering with Notifies and Open Chat Alliance as they're building out their cross-chain messaging, partnering with Pith Network and other oracles to provide us off-chain and on-chain data so that we're able to really be able to help users make financial decisions in real time. And then lastly, Project Galaxy is one of many tools that we can use to actually track this information and take it to the next level so that we can all work together and show, the beauty of transparency of Web3 with on-chain transactions, being able to provide you an alternative credit score, your DeFi score, which shows whether you make good processes on your loans or bad. It's up and down, right? So the goal for us, and this was our hackathon dream roadmap, And anyone who's done a hackathon knows what you want to do when you start, and 24 hours, it flies by. So the main thing that we decided was with DeFi Score, we want to bring the power back to the people. We want to give you the ownership of your data, allow you to benefit from your data versus the incumbents. This is the time to bring the power back to the people, to provide alternative lending scores and alternative solutions, to not let people feel stuck. It's the time to let Web3 build your new future with DeFi Score. Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. Thank you for that. One of the questions I had, so you mentioned briefly, you touched on some of your competitors. So how does DeFi Score differ from those platforms, and why would someone use DeFi Chain DeFi Score versus like one of the competitors?
Yeah, so what we noticed when we were looking at this, our competitors are providing a score, but it's not personalized. They're just trying to, I guess being in Web3 anonymized is amazing, right? But like, they're not providing the education and the tooling needed to break down the barriers to enter Web3. So what we were planning on doing, as mentioned, some of those partnerships we're looking at, we're not trying to build out the next Aave. I personally love Sharky.fi on Solana, where you can lend against your NFTs. But I mean, that's a little bit more advanced lending stuff, right? But we're looking to partner with those partners to create, I was a lifeguard, so the easiest, I guess, analogy for me is like your swim coach, minnows to guppy to shark, right? So what we want to do is build this DeFi lending program or DeFi literacy program that's based off your on-chain transactions, so that maybe you're a 600 credit score, but you've been doing all these classes and making some trades and things, and now you've got a plus 15 DeFi score. So I think that was our differentiator, is we are focused on the gamification and making a difference, and also partnering with Web2 companies that are trying to help people as well. So we want to kind of bridge the gap between both.
Got it. Yeah. And then in terms of commercializing your product, to commercialize DeFi Score, so what's kind of the revenue model that you guys are planning on? I mean, how are you guys going to make money for yourselves as a platform?
Yeah, so the first step would be, as we were partnering with the Hedera blockchain, which is going to be doing that, just reading your score. So coming from a fintech background, I have a lot of friends that have worked at RIAs and work at different lending platforms, that they need to know all your credit data to get money off of your loan, right? So why are we paying money for them to get our credit scores? Let's flip the script, right? You want to get me a loan, George? You want to make some money off my mortgage? Then why don't you pay? And it's just one hash bar, so it's nothing crazy. It's a small amount of money, but it really adds up, right? Especially because when people, I know from my own experience, after having a bad credit score, like you can't get a credit card. I got a $350 credit card. Like, it was embarrassing. Like, luckily my friends let me live in their spare rooms for like a year till I built myself up a bit, but other people don't have that opportunity, like they're just stuck with like what they told me: be a good girl and pay your credit card bills on time from now on, right? That's so condescending, and that's not a real solution that people can actually work towards. So that was why we decided to try and focus on this. I understand it isn't the easiest solution, but what great idea it is.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, cool. All right. Well, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. And that concludes our demo session for today. Thank you
so much.
So thank you to all of the teams and the presenters for joining us today and contributing your time and efforts to today's demo session. It was fantastic to hear from you all and what your teams are building. Congrats on all of your success at ETHToronto, and I'm sure we'll see more of you all in the future. This session has been extremely helpful for us and for the community to better understand your project, the vision, and the future plans. Guys in the audience, if you do have any questions for any of the presenting teams, please feel free to try out their product, join their community, and engage with them, as I'm sure they would love to hear from you. We have a series of events like today coming up. If you're interested and haven't followed us on YouTube and Binance Lives, please make sure that you do so. so that you don't miss out on any of the upcoming sessions that we're going to host for you. So thanks again, guys, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you.